greeted by a crowd of cheering people, thousands of people. Their tour of duty included months of airstrikes against al-Qaeda terrorists. And we'll have another update at the bottom of the hour.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Your safety and security is being threatened by fanatics in the Middle East, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. We're not talking Osama bin Laden here. We're talking about the out-of-control Palestinian situation. On the first night of Passover, another suicide bomber has killed 15 people, injured 100 others. All of these people were civilians, and there is no other reason than terror to targets. The world must demand that the Palestinian Authority act aggressively against terrorist organizations such as Hamas and Islamic Jihad. No more excuses, no more rationalizations. This kind of terror is threatening the entire world. The United States cannot let Israel be engulfed by terrorists. It's as simple as that. Yes, Israel has been unfair at times in the conflict. That does not mean the Palestinians have the right to slaughter women and children. The responsible Arab states must finally rise up and condemn this kind of murder. And if they don't, the Bush administration must take note of that and reassess any and all financial aid we send to those countries. Terrorism is terrorism, whether it's in New York City or Jerusalem. No civilized society attacks civilians. If this situation continues to spiral out of control, all of us in America will be hurt. We remain far too dependent on Arab oil. We remain over that barrel. For some strange and incomprehensible reason, President Bush has not put himself firmly behind the conservation movement. The president should be on TV all the time asking people to conserve fuel. And I just can't believe Congress didn't pass legislation upping mandatory fuel standards on cars and trucks. That puts us all in harm's way. If the Arab nations decide to support the Palestinian terrorists, what happens then? Say they shut off the spigot. Do we seize the oil fields, resulting in a world war? Come on, this is crucial. America must get on the road to energy independence and stop screwing around. President Bush should help Israel find and eliminate the terrorists. Yasser Arafat is a coward and a fool. Israel offered him a tremendous deal in President Clinton's last year. He turned it down because he's gutless and seemingly enjoys seeing Jews murdered. When terrorist organizations like Hamas declare they will kill Jews no matter what kind of settlement takes place, all bets are off. Hamas has to be wiped out just like al-Qaeda. Hamas and other Palestinian fanatics are a threat to the entire world. No people on this earth should be threatened with extinction, and the Israelis are. Moral nations will respond to this threat and fight against those terrorists. Corrupt and immoral nations will not. Let's find out which is which once and for all. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. The lawsuits have been filed. The Reparations for Slavery movement is finally in the judicial system. With us now is the former political director for the NAACP in New Jersey, Walter Fields. Now, I know you're on board with this reparations thing, but did you know, Mr. Fields, that 90% of white Americans oppose it and 37% of black Americans oppose any reparations for slavery?
Doesn't surprise me.
That's an overwhelming mandate.
Doesn't surprise me. It's not a mandate. It just means that there has to be serious education over what the reparations movement really means. You have to remember that even at the height of the civil rights movement, a large segment of white America was opposed to any civil rights legislation.
Never 90%.
We don't know that because you don't know what's in the hearts and minds of men. And certainly oftentimes in polls, people do not reflect their true feelings.
All right. Is there something you could tell me tonight that's different, that an argument for reparations that I haven't heard before?
I can tell you a lot of arguments
just give me
for
a big
reparations.
one.
I think if you can find and target where damage has been done, and find the victims or the descendants of the victims, then I think those issues should be explored in terms of how do you repair the damage.
All right,
certainly
so
the lawsuits that were filed, they have evidence to show that certain companies were involved.
Fine. If the company started in 1795 and they took advantage of slavery, then you say they should, in the year 2002, be held accountable.
There's no clock on justice.
All right. Native Americans, are they entitled to reparations?
Without a doubt. They've already started that movement by looking at
Native Americans should get them. Chinese Americans? Because the railroads exploited them?
Once again, if you can find areas where there's been
all the railroads exploited them.
If you can find areas where damage has been done.
So Chinese Americans should get reparations
I think
too?
if they can find areas where damage has been done.
All right, well, there's no question that the Chinese Americans were exploited to put the railroads together. Okay, so we got African Americans, Native Americans, Chinese Americans. Union soldiers, descendants of the Union soldiers killed in the Civil War, should they get reparations?
My great-great-grandfather was a Union soldier. He was a slave. He fought for the Union Army. I definitely think I have a right to put a claim in. Yes, I do.
Okay, so all descendants of Union soldiers who were killed in the Civil War, they should get reparations?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, and I think you're mixing apples and oranges.
Why? I mean,
Why?
if somebody were killed trying to free the slaves...
Because when you look at African Americans, let's stick to African Americans since that's what we're talking about.
No, but I can't, but it's not fair.
It is fair.
Well,
It is fair.
Look, you conceded... Wait.
No, African Americans were the only group in this country that suffered under legal slavery.
Well, I'd say Native Americans suffered.
No, it was a different situation.
It was different, but it was institutionalized, and that's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. African American slavery was codified.
Yeah.
There's a difference than what happened to Native Americans who were virtually just slaughtered.
All right, but you just conceded to me that Native Americans and Chinese Americans should get reparations as well as Africa. But you wouldn't give reparations to the families of Union soldiers who were killed trying to free the slaves. No.
I would give reparations to a group, particularly a racial group like African Americans, who can pinpoint where damages have been done.
Okay.
By mixing apples and oranges, what you are simply doing is simplifying the claim. The claim is not that simple.
I'm not mixing apples and oranges.
Oh, yes, you are. The claim is based upon African Americans who can demonstrate that they have been harmed through the years, whether through slavery or through segregation.
Every human being on this earth can demonstrate that they've been harmed by injustices in the past.
Every human being can demonstrate that they were part of a group that was subject to slavery. And part of a group, your group was subject in the United States.
No. My group was subject to slavery.
I'm talking about the United States.
Okay, but look, you can talk about whatever you want, but I'm saying to you this. My people lost all their land because the British took it away from them, starved them, and they had to come over here. So should I file a lawsuit?
Your people should file a lawsuit against the British government.
But this is insane.
No,
Mr. Fields, listen to yourself.
No, it's not.
Everybody on this earth can trace back injustice.
Justice is justice.
No,
and you cannot dismiss claims simply because of the length of calendar or clock.
Yes, you can. There's a statute of limitations built into the law to prevent chaos and anarchy.
No one has put a statute of limitations on these type of claims.
They will.
Because
this is going to get thrown out. You're never going to win this. If you win this, I'll buy you my reparation to you.
First of all, it's not me.
All right.
It's not me.
The lawsuits are not going to win.
And second of all, even if the lawsuits don't win, don't you think that a corporation like Aetna would respond, given the fact that blacks are now a $500 billion consumer market? Wouldn't it make sense for them to simply look at that?
Aetna issued a statement and said we give billions of dollars every year to minority concerns.
That's like putting a Band-Aid on a trauma victim.
Look, if you want Aetna to give more money, then you go get him. Send Jesse Jackson. He's good to shake down.
We don't have to send Jesse Jackson. We've got the lawsuits.
But I'm telling you this. You're creating three things. Bitterness.
Once again, you're personalizing it. I'm not creating it.
I'm using you're in the general term, not you, Mr. Fields. I mean, we like you. You come in here and you answer the questions. We love you. This reparations movement is creating three things. Backlash against African Americans.
That's already there.
All right, but this is huge, 90% plurality.
It's huge there. It's already there.
You're creating chaos and anarchy. Now, in theory, everybody should be treated in this world fairly. Everybody should be compensated for things that happen that shouldn't have happened. In theory. But in practice, this country has given every American now a chance to make it.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
Yes,
hundreds of thousands of black businesses can't get access to capital. Why?
I can't answer that question generally, but I'll tell you this.
We're having a very general conversation.
If you work hard in this country and you're honest, you can succeed.
That's not true.
Yes,
there are many examples of African Americans who are in business, who work hard, who can't access capital
And there are plenty of white companies who can't either for whatever reason.
But we know the reason for African Americans.
You're a successful person. I have on my staff a number of African Americans.
You can point out one or two.
No.
But when you look at the conditions in this country, when you look at the history of this country.
Listen to me. We got 30 seconds. Last stat. Black married couples make 80% of what white married couples make in this country. That's parity because most of them live in the South where salaries are lower. That's the stat. Last word. Go ahead.
That's not parity. That simply means improvements have been made.
That's parity.
Real parity is when African Americans have equal access to the market, which they don't.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. Always a pleasure. Next up, a big brawl in L.A. A police big shot calls Congresswoman Mac